Hi friends! Today we're gonna do some tarot. I know it's probably the middle of the day, I don't even know what time it is, but I just got off of a meeting, and the light was so good! So I was like, why the heck not? We look good today. You know what's so funny? I've been experimenting with content creation and trying to simplify using my phone because you don't have to have anything fancy schmancy in order to make content. But for years I was hung up on like, oh, it has to be this specific camera and I need a specific microphone and all this. And then lately, since starting like focusing on my business like much more seriously, I have come to recognize that the vast majority of people who are running businesses and making content don't have any of that fancy equipment. So here we are on our phone using the most wacky like doohickey thing to put the phone. It's from the dollar store and like it tips over all the time. So if all of a sudden I'm like sideways, that's all that's happening. For some reason, my phone always says at the bottom slow connection, and I don't know why, because it isn't a problem on my computer, it isn't a problem seemingly for anyone else in this house that I'm in, but there's a slow connection on my phone. So if I disappear or all of a sudden I look like a ghost on the screen, it's because I have a slow internet connection on this phone. Maybe I need to get a new phone. But we're going to do some tarot. I had the most incredible experience last night where, so if you don't know, it was the 9-9 portal in numerology, which also appears in the tarot as well. Nines represent endings or being very close to completion. It's like the step before completion. So last night felt very much, I know this sounds woo-woo, but I'm going to use the word portal or doorway. It was very symbolic of moving from one point in your life to another, not just like the next day. But for me, it's been about identity shifting. And I know that some people who watch me on Facebook, who know me pretty well, just like, what the heck is she talking about? I want to talk about it so much more because, and this is a very controversial opinion, and so please take it with a grain of salt. This is literally just a personal experience. Like, I'm trained as a therapist and social worker, and I 100% believe in the effectiveness of therapy. So this is something I just want to put out there. And I personally have experienced a lot of healing and transformation through somehow falling into the world of manifestation. And I'm such a skeptic. I know I read tarot cards, so people think I'm woo-woo, but, you know, I say this in almost every video. I'm very science-minded. That's just the foundation of my reality. It's important. It really, really is. And at the same time, you know, having evidence for things is very important, yes. And at the same time, there's so much that happens in our lives that you don't need evidence for yet. I've been leaning in the past year very much into trust. And I even use the word faith. Hi, Amoya. Yeah, oh my gosh, last night I was doing the meditation and I had a big old ugly cry and like was shaking. And like that's trauma release from your body. It's energy, it's somatic experiencing. And I am such a nerd for linking this like seemingly magical thing, manifestation, with science. I love, and Amoya, you know this too. We've talked about this for months now. Neuroscience and, you know, mindset are linked, and then you've got behavioral psychology, and you've got somatic experiencing, and you've got identity shifting and frequency work, and all of it is connected. And I think people think you're either one or the other. You're either sciencey or you are, I use woo-woo, hopefully it doesn't offend anyone, I reclaim it. I also like to talk about, you know, the concept of, you know, God, the universe, the divine, the great spaghetti monster in the sky, or the great woo in the sky. But coming from my therapy background, and academia, which is important and has its place, I'm glad that I did it, but, you know, what's finished is finished. I can't imagine myself going back anytime soon. But also having kind of like a spiritual awakening in the middle of grad school, and then also after that abandoning it out of fear because we had the pandemic and I was like, oh my god, the world is ending. So Catastrophizing is what we call that in psychology. So I went back to grad school and I finished it. And I'm glad that I did, but during that spiritual awakening, I didn't realize it was my Saturn returns, and I lived on an ashram kind of by accident. A lot of my spiritual experiences have been by accident. And it changed my perspective on what is available to us and what exists in this world, because so much of it is stuff that we don't have proof of yet. It boils down to personal experience. So I used to feel stuck in the middle of it, and last night I had this real aha moment of, okay, my role, I think, in this world is to bring those things together. It's like manifestation for the curious but skeptical, because that's what I've been. And my controversial opinion is that you can actually get so much healing from doing identity work. And identity work is what I found through manifestation. So yes, I love that we're both woo-woo, nerdy science girlies. I love that so much. And I really love that a lot of our conversations, sorry, I'm speaking to Amoya, from, our mastermind have made their way into Gateway 21. I think the doors are closed now, but for anyone who's interested in working with my mentor, or one of my mentors, Amoya Shante, she's amazing. And we talk about a lot of the same things, that she brings her own fabulous sugar and spice to it, and I assume she'll probably be running this same program or challenge again in the future. It's called Gateway 21, and there's so many conversations of the things that we've been talking about in the mastermind that resonate with a lot of people, the practical applications of manifestation. And I learned by going down the rabbit hole this summer that a huge part of my own healing is identity work. And I got there through manifestation, which I learned about from, the DJ competition that I never shut up about. It's really not about the competition itself. It was quite an experience and was very unexpected the way that it went. But I do believe that the reason for it happening was not just my passion for music. That's great. Or to accomplish something, but it was the identity shift that had to happen in order to accomplish that goal. And it was quite profound. And then since then, being on a roller coaster over the course of this year of wavering back and forth between identities. And then my personal breakthrough came last night, where I had this good old ugly cry, and I really connected to this, I want to say new version or new identity, but it's not. That's the misconception, and I think it creates a lot of confusion in, the manifestation community. I don't even want to call it a community. I mean, I guess we have one. The folks who are interested in it and practice it, is that we understand that in order to get the things that you desire, you do have to shift how you perceive yourself, your capabilities, your mindset, and how you manage or experience emotions. That is what shapes a new identity, or in, on the ashram that I lived on for a while, what they call personality. And I don't think we're here to get rid of our personalities. I think it's about tapping into parts of yourself that just, they're your essence, they're at your core, they're your spirit, they're your soul. But when we experience things like trauma, those things can feel like they've gotten lost, or we get detached from them. But there's a misconception that somehow the identity shift has to be from something outside of yourself. It's really not. It's an internal process. And this is why I think it's not even a controversial opinion. Maybe it is. But I do believe that when you are ready to move from survival in your life, which is mostly what therapy is helping people do, so I believe in it. It's really essential. I have practiced as a mental health professional. It's important. And when you're ready to move from survival into thriving, it doesn't mean that you're not going to grapple with big emotions or still need to employ the tools that you learn in a therapeutic setting. They're still very important. They're foundational. Sorry, cat hair, as always. Ugh. I love my cat, Princess Pearl the Benevolent. She's got long hair, and it's just constantly in my lip gloss and chapstick. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't wear black. I can't wear white because she's a tuxedo cat. I'm just chronically covered in cat hair. Where was I going? Oh, concussion brain, I swear. Oh, yeah, from surviving to thriving. There's a bridge. It's like you don't just instantly become a different version of you. You're working on this constantly. You're often not even conscious that you're working on it, but things are shifting and they're changing, and then things start to shift and change in your life. You start to thrive when you are more consistent with the identity. And this is just what I've been going through. And it was a very internal process. It was a very introverted process all summer. And I do think that we need communities and spaces, sacred spaces, to help, like a container, to help hold the transformation. Because for better or for worse, usually for better, because we love the people in our lives, but our friendships, our family relationships, our environments can have a huge impact on how we perceive ourselves and our identity, right? And sometimes you can't change your environment. You probably can't change your family. You can choose your friends, but we don't just suddenly break up with all of our friends and leave our community just because we're going through some shifts and changes. So taking time for yourself is important, and that's what I did and I have been doing, and setting better boundaries. But also recognizing that at a certain point, being hermity, which is one of my favorite activities, is becoming avoidant. So if you notice yourself going through this void space, allow yourself that solo time. Don't push yourself to be around people if you don't want to be around people. But also recognize that one of the invitations at a certain point is to see, can I hold this new identity? Can I hold this new frequency, mindset, behaviors, how I respond instead of react? Can you do that when you're around the same people? Now, you may find that people fall away in your life. Friendships maybe dissipate, they're not aligned anymore, and they can go very quietly as well. It's not always some huge, doesn't have to be some huge friend breakup. Family relationships actually, I think, can heal from doing this personal transformation. A lot of times we have stressful and strained family relationships because we're not actually embodying our best selves. We're falling into people pleasing or martyrdom in some capacity. I see that showing up when I'm working with some moms. They can fall into that as well, where they feel like they lose themselves. And then there can also be strained relationships because we're just not embodying our true selves, and people would rather, in my opinion, maybe it's a little bit, I don't think naive is the right word, but like rose-colored glasses, I guess. But I like to see the world as if people do want to see you grow and change, and they want to celebrate you and support you in that. And the reality is that if they don't have the capacity for that, doesn't mean that they don't like it, but it usually is a mirror of like, oh shoot, that person is growing and changing, and I want that, but I feel like I'm not capable of doing it, so I'm going to push them away, or I'm going to leave, or I'm going to create drama and cause a fight for really no good reason. We have to understand that a lot of the times when we're shifting and we're growing and we're changing our identities, people can think like, oh, you're just not the same anymore. You're like, you've changed. It's like, yes, things have changed. But if you're still rooted in who you truly are and connected to your heart, we don't have to create boundaries that feel like walls. Some people get overexcited with their boundary setting and create walls when we can create loving boundaries. I like to think of it, I know I've spoken about this before during tarot readings. See, I'm not even using the cards again. I've been getting more into just sitting down and channeling. This happened last night as well, so I'm thinking maybe like the mini riff podcast. I like to do mini riffs when something like a channeled message just hits me over the head like a ton of bricks. But you can have loving boundaries, and the people who are meant to walk with you will enter your life when you're on that frequency. And the people who are no longer meant to walk with you, we can be grateful for one another and the things that they taught us, the things that we've learned, and the relationships that we've had. And also acknowledge that when they part ways, although we can experience difficulty or grief. Oh my gosh, I just saw two butterflies outside my window like dancing around each other. That was the sweetest thing. when people migrate out of our lives or we shift away from them, it's creating space in your life for new manifestations of people, new relationships. I really believe that. But it can be a lonely period in between. It can be isolating. So remember that you can still tap into your friend groups. You can still see other people. It's okay if you need to take solo time for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. Declining invitations is hard, but it can also be really nourishing as well. Remember that you can still tap into those relationships, and I don't want to say it's like a test, but it can be like a little bit of a challenge to see if you can hold this newness while in familiar environments. And then also seeking out environments that can fiercely support you in your transformation. This is absolutely essential, and I'm excited to bring that into my work because for a really long time, I haven't really known where to go with this. And then also how to create community so that I can support other people in doing this. And I realized that one of the reasons why I haven't put out tons of work into the world has been because I hadn't found something that I'm super duper passionate about. I still love tarot. Of course I love DJing. I love DJing so much. But it's this identity work that it's changing the game. And it can change it for you too. And I firmly believe that community is essential. So the work that I currently am excited about putting out into the world is creating some kind of community space where people who are very enthusiastic or curious or skeptical about learning about this stuff will take the leap of faith, check it out, learn a bit about it. If anything, it's about being kind of close to other people whose attitudes about it are open and excited. I still invite skepticism, healthy skepticism, because that's just part of who I am, and I'm not trying to change that in any way. It's important to use critical thinking. And at the same time, magic and miracles truly do happen in our lives when we shift our mindset, how we handle ourselves, how we handle our emotions, how we navigate challenges and contrast in our lives. And yeah, anyway, so that's the mission. But I am going to do a teeny tiny bit of tarot because I keep promising that, but I do want to lean more into just the rambles. I like to call them riffs. I don't know, I just have this idea about the mini riff podcast. That sounds kind of fun. I think I can do that on YouTube as well. But anyways, there will be updates about what the heck I'm talking about if you want to know what it is that I currently do, because I'm coming out of hiding. I got the Hermit card in reverse yesterday, and I was like, oh, okay, no more hiding. What do? I still offer tarot readings, that's fine. I do one-offs. They are $111. That's it. Unlimited questions, which a lot of readers don't do. You can ask as many questions as you want within the hour. $111. I'm also offering something new because I do believe that it's possible to do too many tarot readings, because then the messages get muddled and we're not focusing on just a few concepts at a time. Like simplicity and focus is far more important. Too much information and then you get frozen again and then you don't do anything. I am so guilty of doing that. So something I'm offering right now and I'm super excited about is an all seasons pass. It's like a tarot ticket where you get 4 readings in the year, and instead of $444, it's $333. And it's you can cash them in whenever you want. It doesn't matter to me. I suggest doing it one for each season, and it's fun because we're currently shifting in the northern hemisphere into the autumn, and I think in the southern hemisphere they're moving into spring. That would make sense. So there's going to be the tarot all seasons pass, and I'm super duper excited about that. And then I'm going to be offering and creating a space. It's like a very small, intimate coaching container for people who are super excited about the identity shifting piece. The first round is going to be called She Who Shifts. So it is aimed at my gender nonconforming and femme-identified folks. I may offer a He Who Shifts program as well, and that's fine. I just was thinking one at a time, but I could do both. Heck, I could put them together. I don't know. It depends on who is interested and reaches out to me. So just send me a message if you're curious about this. but it's the identity shifting in an intimate container, and I'm just going to give you the best of what I've learned about this. It's learning in action. It's motivated by so much excitement and passion, and it works. It's very effective. Getting what it is that you desire, and more importantly, transforming who you are, how you see yourself, and as a result, your world really starts to change. And then it's not a secret, but it's coming together. It's coming together slowly, but it is coming together. I'm starting a school, an online community school that you can tap into. It will probably be small to start, but then I want to expand it out, and then it's a space and you can tap into whenever you need some inspiration, some support, educational stuff from me. I'll do weekly coaching, basically with a group, so that you can ask me questions and things. And yeah, I just love teaching this stuff. I love to ramble so much. So those are the things that are coming together. But if you need support immediately, you feel like you need support immediately, and you're watching this, you know where to find me. I have spent a lot of time being worried about talking about these things on my social media, because I'm like, oh my God, it's so embarrassing. It's too woo-woo, or I shouldn't talk about the things that I offer. But like, this is my career. Like, why am I not? It's not a bad thing. It's okay to talk about this stuff. And this is where so many people that I love and care about occupy this space. Why the heck would I not tell them about it? So if you love it, you love it. If you're interested, you're interested. If you're not, that's fine. I honestly don't care, but this is what I want to talk about. So now that all that is out of the way, let's do a tarot reading for the collective. The collective just means whoever is tuned into this right now. If you hear it and you're like, that's not relevant, but it sounds like my friend, pass it on to them. Share it if you like. If it seems kind of relevant, but you're not 100% sure, take what you can, leave the rest. And then my suggestion is to see how things unfold over the next week or two. You might find that the message actually becomes relevant. And it's not a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's just sometimes you receive the message and you don't think it's for you. And then a few days later, you're like, oh my God, this is exactly what Andrea was talking about. And that's okay too. It happens to me all the time with readers that I haven't even met. They're like across the world somewhere, and I just find them in the social media sphere. But so that's what I mean when I'm talking about the collective. Feel free to say hi, by the way, if you're watching this live, and comment below if you're watching it on the replay. People always say hashtag replay. I don't even know what that does or what that means, but whatever. Okay. I will say that I'm experiencing some body pain at the moment, so we're not going to go too much longer than this. But we had to catch this fabulous light. I usually film at nighttime, because while I was having my little meditation practice where I was really channeling like my highest self, my best self. I like to say my favorite self. My favorite self. She who shifts. She who has shifted. I like doing those things at nighttime because my room is really pretty. I've got so much twinkly stuff. I'm a Taurus sun. What can I say? I like pretty things. Ooh. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. I love that. Okay. All right. Okay, we'll start with this and then see. Well, if there's anything else. Okay. Wicked. Okay, so the first card that we got was the Six of Swords. The Swords is the air element. It represents thoughts, the mind, logic, reason. It's the stuff that's going on in your head. So the Six of Swords, you can see that this individual has, I believe, a suitcase, and they're in a boat, and it's being pulled by the ravens or the crows. In this deck, the swords are represented by these birds, which I think is really beautiful. But instead of like, you know, sometimes the images in this deck is the birds are being really aggressive and they're kind of like attacking someone. Instead, in this one, they're pulling strings that are bringing this boat out of these choppy waters onto the shore. And so this is the idea that your thoughts are shifting, your mindset is shifting, the way that you see yourself and the world is shifting. You're moving from potentially a really difficult place in terms of your mindset, and it would also be quite emotional because the water element is represented on the card, and water represents emotions, usually love and emotions. So even though it's not a cup card, right, we just look for the different elements found within the card. So this is moving on. This is moving into a space of feeling more emotionally balanced. It can be still feeling challenging emotions, but experiencing challenging emotions is okay. It's a sign that you're alive. It's a sign that you are shifting who you are. Things may feel unfamiliar or wobbly. That's okay. I'm right there with you. And in shifting your mindset and how you see the world around you, how you see yourself, the identity piece is what's moving you to calmer waters and to shore. So to me, this is about having trust and faith and remembering, like reminding yourself that you are okay. You're going to be okay. You've been okay. Things are going to be okay. Even if you are surrounded by what feels like a chaotic sea, right? At the center of the reading, we have the Eight of Pentacles, and I love it because she's clearly sitting on a chair from IKEA, but she's holding a candle, she's working, she's got her little aloe vera plant, books, herbs, doing witchy things. Don't worry about the fact that I'm saying she, it could be a they, a he, it really doesn't matter. It's just about what does the card mean. It's the Eight of Pentacles. Pentacles, very pretty card. My phone never focuses. It likes to focus on my face and my hand, but not the card. This is about, I don't know, what I'm doing right now, and maybe you too. It's about getting to work. This is about putting in the work necessary in order to get to the next phase of where you want to go, the next part of your life. It's about going for what it is that you want and recognizing that manifestation isn't just about pulling things to you or attracting. That's a part of it. We'll talk about it at some point. But a huge part of it is still taking practical steps. And this is the more, logic-based part of manifestation. It's not just instantly, I manifest $1 million out of nowhere. Like, wouldn't that be great? Lottery winners do. It does happen. But for most of us, we put in the work. So what is it that you need to do right now in order to move the needle forward? The identity shift is a part of it. That's a huge part of it. And the frequency, which we will talk about at another point. But still acting from the place of the person that you want to become. I do not believe in fake it till you make it. I believe in practice it till you become it. I have it written over there. I've had it written over there on my whiteboard for months. Practice it until you become it. That's what I did when I was manifesting in my music career earlier, because it wasn't even close to being a career at that point. It's still unfolding, but the identity was something I was practicing, and the identity of the person who could accomplish the goal that I had was someone who put in the work. I practiced my DJing anywhere between 3 and 6 hours a day, every day, over the course of, the comp, because I needed to increase my skill set and get better. So it wasn't just about, okay, now I am, competition winning DJ. Like, I told myself that was the mindset stuff, but the identity was also associated with behaving differently than I would have prior to that particular situation. So, sorry, I'm getting a bunch of messages. I apologize for the sound. Once you start doing this, things are going to start moving really quickly. The way that I know that is because the Eight of Wands. The Wands is the fire element. It's creativity. It's passion. And the 8, which is also representing the infinity symbol, so sustainability, I really like that. But the 8 of Wands really speaks to the energy of very fast-paced movement. When you start, it's like you take one step and the universe meets you. You don't even have to meet halfway. You just have to take the first step. And through shifting your energy and your identity, which is a practice, again, this is what I teach. I'm excited about it, so let's do it. that things start to move way faster than you think. Now, in practical terms, we need to meet the opportunities with preparation. It's like preparing in the way that the person who could have your goal would prepare, so that when the opportunity comes at you, probably like faster than you think, you're ready to step into it and do the thing that it is requiring of you. But you need to maintain the identity, and you do that through practicing. So if you resonate with fake it till you make it, fine, whatever works for you. I'm not gonna yuck your yum, but I say practice it till you become it. Practice shifting. You can even do the trick of standing at the center and then actually pivoting with your eyes closed and be like, okay, so I've been walking this way from this identity, and now I'm going to pivot just a little bit this way and walk this direction with this identity on. And it's not fake. It's coming from an authentic place. That's what's necessary. And then the more that you behave in those ways and take the actions that the person who has your goal that you're trying to manifest, the more that you do that, you've prepared. You meet the opportunity with practice, preparation, skill that you needed. A lot of the time our manifestations aren't coming through because it's as if we're just not on that frequency, because we're just not prepared. Sometimes we can have something offered to us, and then because of that offer, we end up stepping up and shifting in that moment. But the opportunities tend to come in more when we are ready and prepared, so that when they show up, we can accept the opportunity, and we can also sustain what it requires of us, and we can maintain it and build from there. But it's going to come fast. So do your work now. Okay. Then we got the Five of Wands. This is interesting. To me, the Five of Wands represents, it's like, I call it the itty bitty shitty committee. It's that internal conflict. It's like when I do parts work with people, or internal family systems, which is, it's not about families, it's about the different cast of characters that live inside of us, our different identities. When we haven't identified who they are, oftentimes the reason why we feel stuckness is relative. It's a mental concept. Usually we're not actually logistically stuck, but we can feel stuck for years. Most of the time, it's because you have the characters inside of you that are kind of at war with each other, but they're not actually at war. This looks like they're climbing on some sort of jungle gym contraption. They're not actually fighting, but they're not looking in the same direction. It looks like they're kind of play fighting in a way. They're not cohesive. And in order to manifest certain things, you need to have mind, body, heart coherence. And there's science behind this. I'm not going to get into it right now. I will teach about this in the school or in the program. Both. We'll teach about this. But when you have internal conflict of these different characters inside of you, it would make sense that you feel stuck if they're butting heads. One version of you, who's like the CEO self, wants to move forward, make moves, act in alignment with the business person that you are. And then there's another part of you, like your inner child, that's just like, I don't want to drive the bus. I don't know how to run a business. I don't know how to do any of this stuff. That would be in conflict. So then there's the stuckness, because you've got the terror that one part of you is feeling, and then you've got the frustration of what the other part is feeling, and then the bus goes nowhere, right? It's like fighting over the steering wheel in a way. So if your inner child is like, I don't want to do that, it doesn't mean that they're not taking the wheel at all. They're actually trying to grab the wheel and steer us away from the goal, right? Because they don't want to deal with the direction that the CEO self or performer self or adventurer, maybe traveler, if you've never traveled before and you're like, oh, I want to go, but I don't want to go. That's what that is about. So it's about bringing things into coherence so that you can actually move forward. And one of the processes that I love to do is more of a somatic experiencing process and visualization, where we learn to have conversations with these different parts of us. We identify them, figure out where they live somatically inside of us as a feeling, have conversations with them through a process called aspecting. That's from counseling and psychology. And then once we can create compromise between them and agreement and alignment, then the stuckness dissipates, which is very cool. And then we've got the Knight of Wands and the Queen of Swords. The Knight of Wands is fiery energy. It can be showing up online. It can be expressing the things that you're passionate about. It's new, it's fresh. It's not a juvenile energy. It's not ungrounded or immature, but it's still new and it's fresh. So maybe you are coming out of a period of healthy isolation, right? Or maybe you have a creative project that you want to pursue, or I've got lots of DJ friends who are like just beginning and they're scared to put themselves out there, and I still get scared too, so don't worry. But the passion is there and you're on the precipice of making those moves. That's beautiful. That's amazing. We're going to be making the moves, but let it be driven by passion and excitement. You don't have to force yourself, but leaning into your edges is very important. Then finally we have the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords, again, don't worry about man, women, gender nonconforming. It doesn't matter. It's just an energy. The Queen of Swords is representing that air energy, the mind, logic, reason, and communication. The Queen of Swords is speaking about their truth. It is teaching. It's about the frequency of truth. It's about choosing to be brave and speak about things that maybe we haven't allowed ourselves to speak about before. It's you being honest with yourself, speaking to yourself honestly with clarity, speaking with others with honesty and clarity. It is setting healthy boundaries. And my only suggestion to you, and I don't usually suggest it with this card, but in this deck, this just jumped out at me, is she's sitting on top of this throne, which is on top of a mountain. She's able to see the bird's eye view, which is very beautiful because we actually have the bird way up here. She's very mature. She's grounded. She's not speaking in ways that are rude or hurtful on purpose. It's just speaking logically and rationally. But don't forget about staying connected to your heart. Kindness, compassion, understanding other people's situations, because sometimes when we have this elevated perspective and we've broken through whatever stage of life that we felt stuck at, we can forget that other people are still there. And in some senses, we can just bulldoze past and be like, well, I don't want to go back there. Don't drag me down. And boundaries are healthy and very essential and important, but let's not lose our compassion. And the reason why I say that is because there's a cup, which is the suit of cups, represents love and emotions. So don't become so logical and detached that you disconnect from your heart space and lose your empathy. You stop practicing empathy and compassion. You don't need to be a martyr. You don't need to save people or fix people, because people don't need to be saved or fixed. They don't need to be fixed. Some people do need rescuing at times. I'm not going to be like, crisis doesn't exist. Of course, crisis exists. People need help in this world. But as you're stepping into this truth, these boundaries, really stay tapped into your heart and figure out what works for you, what doesn't, without becoming untethered from the emotional space. It's very important to maintain that connection with your compassion. Okay? Oh my gosh, I love this. This is amazing. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you watch this on the replay, say hi anyways. I do like to read the comments on Facebook. I might post this to YouTube. I don't know what I'm doing. We're figuring it out one day at a time. But I'm loving you lots, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.